A millionaire faced prejudice at the bank because of his humble appearance. The next day, they couldn't believe what they heard. Downtown was bustling as usual, with hurried people going in and out of shops and offices. Amid the crowd, a middle-aged man walked calmly. His simple attire, worn-out jeans and a cotton shirt, stood in stark contrast to the neatly pressed suits passing by. He didn't seem to care about the curious glances. On the contrary, he exuded a rare sense of tranquility. He was a millionaire, but few would guess it at first glance. When he arrived at the bank, he studied the imposing facade and sighed. It was one of those institutions he frequently used for financial transactions, but he never felt entirely comfortable there. He pushed the glass door, only to be immediately stopped by a burly security guard. "Can I help you?" the guard asked, his expression wary. "Yes, I need to make a withdrawal," he replied calmly. The security guard frowned, scanning him from head to toe. "I don't think this is the right place for you," he said. The tension escalated as the guard refused to let him in. Customers in the queue began whispering, and the scene caught the attention of a manager who quickly approached. The manager looked at the man with disdain. "Sir, we have standards here. You might want to try another bank." The words, laden with prejudice, struck a deep chord. The millionaire tried to explain, but he was ignored. Smiling bitterly, he turned around and left without arguing. On his way home, his mind was racing. He had been judged before, but this time felt different. He knew exactly what he was going to do. The millionaire arrived home, a modest apartment in the heart of the city, and sat at the kitchen table. The simplicity of the space contrasted sharply with the magnitude of his wealth. Despite his substantial bank account, he had never abandoned the humble habits that had helped him achieve success. As he gazed out the window, the sharp words of the manager and the public humiliation he had endured replayed in his mind. Would it have been different if I were wearing an expensive suit? He knew the answer was yes. This wasn't the first time his appearance dictated the treatment he received, but this experience left a deeper mark. Looking back, he remembered his journey. A poor young man with ambitious dreams, rejected countless times because of his background and modest clothing. He had always promised himself that one day he would use his position to correct such injustices. The humiliation at the bank reignited that promise. But he didn't want mere petty revenge. He wanted to turn the situation into a lasting lesson. That same night, he contacted his trusted lawyer. "I want to buy that bank," he said firmly. The lawyer, surprised, asked if there was a specific reason. The millionaire replied with nothing more than a smile. "They gave me an excellent reason today." With his determination renewed, he began to plan every detail. This wouldn't just be a purchase, it would be a transformative change, both for himself and for the institution that had treated him as if he were inferior. The negotiation to buy the bank was swift, but required discretion. The millionaire trusted his lawyer, an experienced man skilled in handling large transactions. The strategy was clear: acquire the branch without the employees knowing who was behind the purchase. Meanwhile, he reflected on his journey. Born to humble working-class parents, he grew up in a small village. From an early age, he learned that hard work was the only reliable currency for those without privileges. His first ventures were modest: repairs, door-to-door sales, and small investments. Over time, his business acumen and ability to save opened bigger doors. Despite his success, he never strayed from his roots. He maintained a simple lifestyle, believing that wealth should be a tool to transform lives, not a means of flaunting. This principle, however, often led others to underestimate him, as had happened at the bank. After several weeks of intense work, the purchase was finalized. He officially became the owner of that branch, but the most important step still lay ahead: the impact of the revelation. On the eve of his return, he sat in his office, reflecting on the moment to come. It wasn't just about addressing the humiliation he had faced. It was an opportunity to challenge prejudices and transform that institution into an example of respect and equality. When the sun rose the next day, he was ready. The hours ahead would mark a turning point for many lives, not just his own. The millionaire returned to the bank the next morning. The hustle and bustle were as lively as ever, and he entered unnoticed. He wore the same simple outfit from his previous visit, intentionally chosen to test whether anything had changed. As he crossed the door, the same security guard stopped him again, using the same harsh tone. "What do you want now?" he asked, clearly annoyed. "Just to make a transaction," he replied. Before he could proceed, a man in an elegant suit entered the branch and greeted the guard. It was the manager, who immediately recognized him. His expression twisted with disdain. "You again? We've already told you this place isn't for you." But before they could humiliate him again, the millionaire's lawyer appeared. Dressed in a flawless suit, he walked confidently to the center of the bank and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the new owner of this institution." Silence fell like a stone. All eyes turned to the simple man standing at the door. The manager, visibly confused, let out a nervous laugh. "This must be some kind of mistake." "It's not," the millionaire replied. "I bought this bank, and now I demand a meeting with all employees." Gathered in the main hall, the millionaire began to speak. He briefly shared his story and explained how the prejudice he faced when trying to enter the bank had driven him to make this decision. "I'm not here to humiliate anyone," he said, looking directly at the manager. "I'm here to change how we treat people. Appearances do not define character or worth." The tension in the air was palpable. Some employees lowered their heads in shame, while others looked on in disbelief. The manager tried to justify his actions, but was interrupted. "Your actions speak louder than words," the millionaire declared. "From today on, things will be different here." With that, he began the transformation of the bank, ensuring the lesson he had imparted would leave a lasting impact on everyone. After the revealing meeting, the millionaire began a complete overhaul of the bank. He hired a specialized team to review customer service protocols and implement mandatory training sessions focused on respect, inclusion, and empathy. "This bank will set an example for the industry," he stated during a follow-up meeting with the staff. "I want anyone who walks through these doors, no matter who they are, to feel respected and welcome." The reform extended beyond internal changes. The branch's architecture was redesigned to be more accessible, with ramps, inclusive signage, and comfortable spaces for all clients. He also established a special fund to support small entrepreneurs in the community, many of whom had been overlooked by the traditional banking system. As for the staff, the changes were strict. The millionaire gave a second chance to those willing to change their attitudes. But some, including the manager who had humiliated him, showed no desire to learn. For them, he expressed gratitude for their service and terminated their contracts. A symbolic message was placed at the bank's entrance. "Here, everyone is welcome. Respect is our priority." The reopening of the branch became a significant event in the city. People who had never set foot in the bank began to visit, drawn by the new environment and the stories of transformation. For the millionaire, the greatest triumph was witnessing humble clients being served with the same enthusiasm and care as anyone else. More than a personal gesture, his transformation of the bank was a declaration that human dignity has no price. He knew there was still much to be done, but this was just the first step toward a larger change. With the bank transformed into an inclusive and welcoming space, the millionaire took an afternoon to reflect on everything that had happened. He sat in his office, gazing at the plaque now displayed at the bank's entrance, which read, "Here, everyone is welcome. Respect is our priority." It was more than a symbolic message. It was a reminder that small actions can spark significant change. Though satisfied with what he had accomplished, he knew this was not his final mission. Many establishments still perpetuated the same prejudices he had faced that day. He decided to use his influence and resources to combat this reality elsewhere. His next step was to create a fund to invest in companies with a history of discriminatory practices, ensuring they were restructured to embody values of equality and respect. He also began giving talks about his experience, inspiring other entrepreneurs to follow the same path. While reviewing his plans, he was interrupted by a notification from his team. A humble client had just opened her first account at the bank. He smiled, pleased to see that the fruits of his efforts were already making a difference. With that, the millionaire felt reinvigorated, now with a renewed purpose. He knew the impact of his actions would echo far beyond the walls of that bank, helping to create a world where dignity and respect were the norm, not the exception. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. If you enjoyed the story and want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. And of course, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. See you next time.